everybody, and welcome back to 15 on the Line. This is a podcast where we take a look inside the prison system through the stories and experiences of inmates and their loved ones. My name is Nikia Ford, and my co-host D.E. Robinson is not with me today, but I have a great guest for you today. She's not only a strong woman, she is an amazing mother. Her name is Louise, and her husband is presently an inmate at a state prison. So without further ado, let's get Louise on the line. And Louise, you're on the line.
Hi, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. You sound very chipper this morning.
Yeah, I'm doing good this morning.
Yes, you are a very hard woman to get down. You have two full-time jobs, one being raising that seven-year-old boy of yours. So you're tired all the time.
That's what it feels like at the moment, yes.
So we have 15 minutes, so let's jump into it.
Okay,
so how long have you been married?
Actually, we've only been married for 4 years.
Okay. And you, like I said earlier, you have a 7-year-old son. So
Absolutely.
How long has your husband been in prison?
7 years. Our son was 4 weeks old when he was sent away.
Okay, and so you married him after he went to prison?
I did, yes.
And
we did things a little backwards.
So what made you make that particular choice?
It was never not a decision. Unfortunately, we weren't in a position that we could get married beforehand. We totally would have done things the right way around if it wasn't for a previous relationship of mine that was hard to end. As it were. So,
relationship drama. I feel you.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was never something that wasn't going to happen.
Okay.
Regardless of our circumstance.
Okay. So you were in a relationship, you got out, you get into a new relationship with your husband. Oh God, doesn't want to go away.
Yeah. He went away. He just went too far away, and I couldn't track him down to take care of the legal aspects of everything.
Okay, you said he went too far away. Be like, come back so I can get rid of you again. Okay. I love it. So how has your husband's incarceration affected your life, affected your marriage?
Oh, well, there's a lot of aspects to it. The marriage part, not so much. Like I said, there was never any doubt that I was going to marry him regardless of the situation. The hardest part for me is not having him here.
Mm-hmm.
It's affected our son. Obviously, our son was only 4 weeks old when this all started, so this is all he's ever known.
Mm-hmm.
But being a single parent, and the other thing too that is not always easy to tell from my voice is I was 42 when my son was born.
Whoa, really?
Yes, I am almost 50. I will be 50 later this year. So being a single mom in my 40s was not part of my plan.
Nobody's plan.
Right. And then that part has been hard. Keeping up with a 7-year-old when you're almost 50 is a challenge.
And doing it alone.
And doing it alone. Yeah. I don't have anybody to bounce the ideas off. And even with a really good support system, which I do have, everything comes down to me. And as much as I try to keep my husband involved with the important decisions, and I won't make important decisions without his input, but still the ultimate responsibility is mine. And so, discipline, all of that kind of stuff has been harder, especially with a boy. He needs his dad around, so that part has been a challenge. It's not even like the intimacy side of it as far as my husband and my relationship. It's just having that person that has your back.
Yeah, because I can imagine, like, you're married and single at the same time.
Exactly.
You're raising a boy, and men raise men. You can do as much as you can as a mother to nurture your son because that's your job as a woman. But the other parts, you're like, I can't do it. I'm not equipped. I'm not a dude. And then you're saying, like, he's been in for 7 years. You've only been married for 4. So most women would be like, okay, the incarceration is the game changer. He can still be a father, but a husband. What about this person or about you is like, he's it for me. I don't care where he is. He's it for me. What made you make that decision? Because most women would be like, I'm not doing it. But you said no. He's my man.
Yeah, and I get that, and I get why a lot of women would. Part of it was this. I always knew. Once we got together, I knew he was it for me, and I made it clear to him when he was sent away that it wouldn't change anything, that I was still planning on marrying him. Part of it, I think, is because of the situation. He is unfortunately one of the many that are in there for something he didn't do. And that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story, right?
That plays a big part in my decision making. I know without a shadow of a doubt that he is innocent. And I probably, things may have been different if I thought he was guilty.
Okay.
So that plays a part in it for me as well. Is that, I know he's there and he shouldn't be.
That takes a strong person, because I know even being that being the case, right? I know that there had been someone were there women in your ear or friends in your ear like, girl, you do not have to do this. Like, he's guilty, he's innocent. Okay, he's innocent, but he's still going to be in prison. And, they're looking out for you, that they have your best interest. But did that situation ever occur that people were saying, just don't do it?
Actually, no, not really. Our close friends are our friends.
Mm-hmm.
So they know the situation. Mm-hmm. They know him. They have great respect for him. So that never came up in that regard. The biggest issue, and it wasn't really an issue, but my family are all in England. I have no family here.
I was going to get into that. Yeah. So that's hard.
Yeah. So my parents, my mom actually hasn't even met him.
Oh.
In person, because of the timing of everything. So my dad has huge respect for him. Actually, my dad will be here in a couple of weeks and we'll be going to see him with me. So we're looking forward to that. But both my parents know that my life would be easier if I went home.
So
it has come up in conversation, but never to a point where it was a serious consideration.
Okay, so first of all, you're very, very blessed to have the support group that you have that are around you and like supporting you. Because, like I said earlier, even with the best of intentions, people will try to get you to do what you know isn't right.
Right.
They're coming from a good place, but they're not being supportive in the situation at hand. And now, like, your accent is not overly British, right? But you're British, right? And so that's across the pond. Everybody, the majority of the people are there, and it will be so easy to get a couple passports, get a plane ticket, and come back, and never come back, or come back when he gets out of prison. Why haven't you done that?
Because I want my son to have a relationship with his dad.
Say it again for the people in the back. Say it again.
Yep, my son needs a relationship with his dad, and quite honestly, my husband needs it too. We are what keep him going. We are the reason that he doesn't get into trouble for real. We are the reason that he, takes care of himself while he's there. He does the things that he's supposed to do for the most part, and stays out of trouble. We are his reason for keeping going, and that's what I can't stop. That's why I can't go. Because honestly, with the current situation economically and everything, it's crossed my mind, but not seriously, because I can't do that to my son or my husband.
So tell me about the economics, because you had talked about it earlier, like when, like the job situation and childcare. Explain to people how that has played a part in your life.
Oh my gosh. Well, the first couple of years, I don't know how I survived, quite honestly. My son was 4 weeks old. I was still on maternity leave. I lost half my income. Poof, gone.
And how you lose your income?
How
did you lose your income? Well, half your income because he's gone.
His half.
Okay, yeah.
Was gone. That's it. Half of our income was gone. So I had a week to figure out what I was going to do. My husband worked from home. He was going to take care of the baby. I had no childcare lined up. And some people may say that was naive with the situation we were in, but we truly did not expect it to go the way it did.
Right.
So yeah, I lost half my income. I had no childcare set up, and I had to go back to work in a week. That first year I was okay because my son had Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have insurance, but my son had Medicaid, so he was covered. I bounced between, I had 6 different friends that were keeping him. There were some days, thankfully I was managing at the time, but there were some days he came to work with me, and some days I worked from home. But I had friends that, he would go to one person in the morning, I'd pick him up at lunch and take him to somebody else in the afternoon. And we did that for about a year. And then it got to a point where he was going to lose his Medicaid because they only do it for a year. I had to cut back my hours. To keep his Medicaid, I had to reduce my hours at work and take less money, but I had to make sure I had insurance for him. So that was non-negotiable.
So you were making too much money to be on Medicaid, but you weren't making too much money to take care of a house and a child and everything. And so
correct. I was making just too much. I would have lost his Medicaid. I got no assistance whatsoever. None. And I think at one point I qualified for food stamps. I qualified for $2 a week.
What's that? Like a candy bar? You gonna feed the baby potato chips? That doesn't even make any sense. Yeah. And so what I love this. Well, I don't love this, but I want people to understand that like these government programs that are set forth, because I'm a big proponent of, I think welfare is for helping people, not for a career. But when you have people that actually need the assistance and help, the help they give you is not help at all.
Exactly.
And so you have to.
I've been working full time since I was 17.
Right.
I had more than one job most of that time, and yeah, for me to go to part time was just like I couldn't wrap my head around that, because I just needed a little bit of help for a short amount of time. Yeah, the systems are not set up for people that actually want to improve their situation.
Yeah. The narrative is everybody on welfare, everybody that gets government assistance is lazy. No. Right. Most of the people, I would say, that are on government assistance actually need the government to assist, because we're not making a living wage or the parameters to get assistance. You barely make it over, and like, okay, you have more than enough money. No, I don't. Do you know how much Pampers cost? Do you know how much these things cost? No, I don't have enough money.
Yep.
So because your son, his father being in prison has been his norm, right?
Correct.
So, but how has he articulated to you in his 7-year-old way that he wishes his daddy were there every day, or how have you seen it?
He does. Every now and then he will get emotional and he'll say that he misses him.
So, and you said, because he's in sports now, right? And so he would probably want his dad to help him with basketball or soccer.
Exactly. And that's the part, it's the missing out, yes. I mean, he'll say that he misses him and he wishes he were home. But like you said, it is normal. Unfortunately, we visit almost every week. There's always occasional weekends that we're not able to go. And so, he at least gets to see him, and they talk on the phone every day. So he gets that. But he's hitting an age where he's starting to talk about it more with other people. He's homeschooled, so he's not, his sports is his outlet for meeting other kids and being with other kids. Mm-hmm. And I actually heard him telling another kid that, his dad was in prison, and we've never hid from him the reason that he's there. We've obviously not the explicit details, but he knows that his dad shouldn't be there.
Right.
And so he actually told somebody, that one of the other kids, that his dad was in prison because somebody lied to the police.
Aww.
Which,
bless his little heart. So what What do you want people to take away from your story?
So there's a couple things. Mainly, don't judge people because you don't know the reasons behind everything. And don't ostracize the families, because even if the inmates are guilty, don't ostracize the family because of their mistakes, especially the kids. It's not their fault. They have no control over any of it. So support the families in whatever way you can. Even just be there to listen, to what problems they're having, even if you physically can't do anything about it. But if you know somebody that is struggling with kids and, families, see what you can do to help. Most of the time people just want somebody to listen and to realize that they're in a situation that's not necessarily of their own making, and they're doing the best that they can do. Because I worry as my son gets older, how people are going to treat him. And it's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. Yes, I chose to stand by somebody that is in prison, but I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Your loyalty to a relationship is being vilified.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I know to a certain extent, my issues at the beginning, my isolation was my own doing.
Mm-hmm.
I shut down for a good long while. My son is what brought me out of that, because I had to start. I didn't feel like I was living. Well, I wasn't living, mm-hmm. but I had to start living for him, because I didn't want him suffering because of my emotional, state. So I had to start getting out more, and, even though I would have been quite happy just to stay home and
curl up in a ball and eat some Cheetos, do nothing. And I can hear the emotion in your voice, and like all great, strong women and amazing mothers, you make these sacrifices at the expense of your own needs for someone else. And I applaud you. I know your husband appreciates you and all that you do. And we have run out of time, so I'm going to say a quick prayer at the end. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time with Louise. We thank you for this podcast. Lord, I ask you to continue to put your protective hedge around Louise and her son and her husband as they go through this time. We don't know why this situation has happened, why you allow this to happen, but we know that all things are going to work for their good. So I ask you to continue to bless them, bring people into their lives that are going to support them and care for them and love them. As in Jesus' name, we continue to pray. Amen. So I thank you so much for joining us today. I thank all the listeners for joining me today. And thank you for having me. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to have you on next season and see how your journey has changed or expanded. And I thank you so much for your time and sharing your story, because it is an amazing story and you're an amazing woman.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And to everybody else, thank you for listening. And that until next time, may God's grace and peace be upon you. Bye-bye. You can contact us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. 15 on the Line is an Abundant Faith Media Group production. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment.